Hello everyone, welcome to the Utopian Wasteland. I am your co-host, Cody, with the main host, Sean. Say hello, Sean.
Hello, Sean. Well, since you're leading, aren't you like the host and I'm the co-host?
Well, you're going to be taking over.
Am I?
Yeah, I'm only co-hosting because I have a slight segment today. That's right! I have my own segment today. It's a short segment, but it is a segment.
That's right. For the price of one, you get two segments today.
I'm pretty sure my segment is going to be cheerier in comparison to what you have.
Mine's just kind of interesting. It's not terribly depressing. It's just quizzical.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm trying to not be gloom and doom every episode.
I don't know, man.
Dang, there's been a lot of stuff coming out that makes me go, oh. Everybody's freaking out about political things that I'm not going to go into, but they're really obsessed, and I'm like, that's not really where you need to keep your eyes at the moment, guys.
Right.
This too shall pass. This other stuff is our future we're stuck with.
Right.
Yeah. But that's for later in the segment. Take it away.
Now, I know what I'm going to be talking about has been out for a while, but I feel like we need to bring this back up again.
Well, it doesn't mean that everybody's heard about it.
True, but I feel like this is something that also is just, hey, here's a reminder of what happened already.
Okay.
Let's maybe try and hold these people accountable.
Okay. So you're going into politics.
Gaming politics.
Oh,
sure.
Kind of.
No.
Kind of
but...
then. Okay, so this is gaming news. All right.
And now for my personal favorite thing that I wrote. And now, Cody's shortish gaming segment. That's right, short-ish gaming segment. I'll try and keep it short.
Give me a theme song.
No. Let's continue. Let's talk about Nintendo. You're familiar with Nintendo, right?
I think I've heard of them.
Well, Nintendo has decided to tighten their user agreement by changing up their terms and conditions.
Uh-huh. Heard a little about this. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Users were sent emails of these coming changes. Until May 6th, users have to agree to not lease, rent, sublease, publish, copy, modify, adapt, translate, reverse engineer, decompile, disassemble all or any portion of Nintendo account services without Nintendo's written consent. This means if you do anything to try and fix something with your Joy-Cons, Nintendo has the full right to brick your Switch 2. Not only that, in the terms, you do not own your Switch 2, saying you acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and or applicable Nintendo devices permanently unusable in whole or in part. I will leave the article down below for you to read, but also do your research as well. Look more into this stuff.
Yeah.
We need to hold these companies accountable for doing stuff like this.
And yet, this news has been out for a little while, at least
Yes.
in gaming communities. And when it came out, big lines of people still waiting to get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much they're going to care because their sales have exceeded their expectations.
Yes.
They're doing well.
It's because the big problem is no one really looks at the terms of services or terms and conditions.
Right.
Everyone skips them.
Yeah.
I am a proponent of skipping them as well. I have a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah.
But anymore,
Same.
I try to take my time now and do read them because, yes, there's a lot, but there are things now where they're trying to sneak in stuff that...
Things that make you go,
Yeah, things that make you go, What's your 2 cents on this?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, the things that they're saying don't do, nobody do.
Right.
I mean, they're saying, don't lease it out.
Right.
Well, who's going to lease their Switch to somebody else unless there's some rental company out there that is renting them out for you to have for the day or two, which I suppose is possible. Leasing is specific, so if you let your friend use your Switch 2, that's not leasing.
Right.
So, I mean, the gist of this is they still own your Switch.
Yeah.
Really, all you've paid for is the licensing agreement to use their property.
Yep.
And that's sketchy. And I think if it was taken to court, I don't know. Even with their licensing agreement, I don't know if they would be able to hold that up. But, yeah, not a lawyer. So maybe. I mean, there's a lot of weird things in law, especially civil law, that are... It's like, really? That works? Oh. So, yeah, I don't know. As for, the stuff about the controllers, some people, I mean, these controllers, they wear out like crazy.
Yep.
And some people are able to get in and fix them. And so if you've done that, then they can shut down your machine.
Completely.
Right? Yeah.
Completely.
Because they want you to buy new controllers from them. Which, 90 people out of 100 are probably going to do that anyway. They're not going to.
Now, mind you, this also does mean any slight modification of any sort.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
We already have too many AAA companies saying get used to not owning your games, and
right
now it's also going to be get used to not owning your consoles.
Right. Well, I mean, to a degree, software has always been that way. What you're purchasing is a licensing agreement to use the software. What they're saying is the company owns the original code.
Right. Even
though you own a copy of it, that doesn't mean that you can resell it or duplicate it.
Right. And that's different.
Yeah, it is kind of. The way they're making it sound is a little sketchier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I can't afford a Switch 2, so...
yeah, nor would I want one.
Yeah, you've got the first one, and yeah, that's good enough.
Now, let's get a little randy.
Randy?
Let's get a little randy. Randy Pitchford, that is.
I was going to say, you going to pitch something my way?
Yeah.
All right.
Good old Randy got himself into a deep, deep hole.
Randy's got a big mouth.
He does.
Yeah. I think he enjoys that, though.
Maybe?
I kind of think he likes screwing with people.
This is a possibility. Players messaged Randy expressing their concerns about the new Borderlands 4 game costing $80. To his two responses, A, he stated, "Not my call." And B, "If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make that happen." Ain't that nice, hearing that from your own AAA company that wants you to buy your game. If you're a true fan, you'll buy it. But he then, as of May 28th, backpedaled, saying, "I'm sorry, there was a misunderstanding. The absolute sincere truth is that I don't want anyone to pay more than they should or are comfortable with." There is a lot more to this tweet. It was a tweet directly from him. I have left that tweet also down below for you to read yourself. And again, please do more research in case there were things I missed. And that is the shortest gaming segment for me. Back to you, Sean.
So Randy.
Yes. Let's talk about Randy.
Well, okay, so
for a little bit.
Well, we have not talked about gaming stuff until now on this podcast at all, and I'm a Borderlands geek.
Yep.
So I was pretty excited about it. Yeah, there's the one thing that he said in there. He doesn't want anybody to pay more than they're comfortable with. Does that mean I can get it for $20? Because that's Randy Pitchford. I'm comfortable
with $20,
paying $20 for a game because hey man, I had an Atari 2600. I don't want to pay more than $20 for a game. Sorry, yeah. Think that'll be all right?
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. All right.
But that's me. That's been my gaming segment.
All right.
And
well, thanks. Thank you.
Now on to you.
For those of you who would like to dig in more, we'll probably be discussing some of that in a little more depth in our further discussion video, which can only be found on Patreon. For as low as $5 a month, you can see the rest of our weird things and see our unfortunate faces. So I'm not sure that's a perk, But there's also merch. Anyway, thank you for that. Well, you want to do some more of those in the future? I think it's kind of nice to throw in some gaming news, a little diversion from some of this. And I think it all relates in the long run. All of this is going to circle around, and it's, there's definitely some point where we're going to be talking about vibe coding and democratizing game design.
Right.
So you don't have to be a code expert to come up with a good game.
Right.
So, but that's not what I'm talking about today.
No, it is not.
No, today I'm going to go back to a previous episode, and we're going to revisit AI.
Okay.
I mean, it's really only been a few episodes back, but things are changing this fast. And what today I'm going to talk about, today what we're talking about, though, is the big debate.
I thought you said we're not talking about politics.
We're not. It's between CEOs, mostly, and a professor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And part of the debate, I got to agree with, it's about overhype.
Okay.
So, loosely, it actually kind of fits in with your segment in a way, because in the gaming industry, there's a lot of overhype.
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah. Well, perhaps in AI as well. So, our big debate, starting off with the first round. In this corner, we have Gary Marcus. Now, you may not have heard of him. According to Wikipedia, he is an American psychologist, cognitive scientist, and author, known for his research on the intersection of cognitive psychology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence.
Oh.
Basically, how the human brain and artificial intelligence converge and we understand things.
Okay.
He did his PhD studies at MIT. So,
He knows a thing or two.
he knows a thing or two. Exactly. You don't just get into MIT because you feel like it. Yeah. So he also founded machine learning startup Geometric Intelligence. So he is also a business owner. That was later sold to Uber. I don't know everything that Geometric Intelligence does, but Uber apparently wanted it. And then in 2019, he founded Robust AI, which is another machine learning company specifically for robotics. All right. In the other corner, we have Sam Altman. He is the tech entrepreneur and current CEO of OpenAI.
Okay.
He's a past president of Y Combinator, a startup, accelerator, and venture capital firm. And he's also served as chairman of clean energy companies Helion Energy and Okio. Basically, we've got the professor and the investor going head to head. Sam is mostly a money guy. And and pulls people together, but he's got a background in coding. But I think he was going to Stanford. He actually dropped out and went into business instead. And he's doing pretty well at it.
Okay.
So, on June 10th. So this is pretty recent. Yeah.
Didn't you say there was 3?
Oh, there'll be more.
Oh, okay.
So, this is just the first 2 people that we're talking about.
Okay.
First debates here. On June 10th, Gary Marcus called out Altman on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. And he wrote, Sam keeps doubling down on bigger and bigger promises that are harder to keep.
I don't know what.
Did you like that?
That joke just kind
X.
of... X, the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. I love... So I got to diverge for just a moment.
Formerly known as Moscow.
Right. When you run a business, changing a really popular business's name is really stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Because constantly, everybody in every news article, hey, posted on X today, formerly Twitter.
Right.
And it's probably going to be like that forever until they change it back to Twitter someday and start calling it formerly X. But we'll see. Anyway, Gary Marcus, the professor, wrote about Sam Altman. Sam keeps doubling down on bigger and bigger promises that are harder to keep.
Shocking.
And then he got mean. He then compared Altman to Elizabeth Holmes. She's the convicted con woman whose blood testing company Theranos duped investors with overhyped promises about their tech. She's in jail currently for it. I think she's still in jail. Maybe she's out by now, but she got it. So he's comparing Sam Altman to her.
Oh!
Marcus made that post just after Sam Altman had posted about how close we are to developing digital super intelligence.
What does that even mean?
Well, basically going beyond artificial general intelligence to super intelligence, basically something way smarter than a human, more capable than what the human brain can do. He thinks we're getting close. And he's not the only one, but I'm going to leave that for further discussion and for future episodes.
Okay.
Meta is getting involved in deeper super intelligence research.
Of course they
But it must be noted that Marcus is already a long-time critic of Altman's, particularly his hype level.
Okay.
He thinks he's just blowing stuff up way too much. And he Marcus has real strong doubts about, are we ever even going to hit AGI? Is artificial intelligence really artificial intelligence? And are we really going to have robots in every home in the next 10 to 15 years, like people say? I think he's maybe a little too dismissive, and Altman's maybe a little too hype.
So aren't we just... Isn't more really what AI is just a machine learning algorithm?
Right now, more than anything, it's the
MLA?
large language models
Yeah.
that just kind of anticipates what you want to say and can pull up the info and anticipate stuff. Yeah. So it's debatable on calling it intelligence, and one of our next episodes we're going to go into that. Apple did a deep dive on that and had interesting results.
Hence I was like machine learning algorithm.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But not all of it really counts as machine learning even.
True.
It's not really learning. That's where the debate's coming in on that aspect. The next debate that I'm talking about today, though, is not just between those two people. It's also between NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang. He's been speaking very publicly about his disagreement with Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei. Again, your favorite named company. Yeah. As a side note, and I told you this the other day, the word anthropic was a pre-existing word, and I'm really disappointed. I love language and have a generally large vocabulary, and I didn't know the word anthropic. I kind of understood where it was coming from, but anthropic means of or relating to human beings or their existence. So, applying that to AI, it's how do you make it like human-like? And how does it work with humans? So, I get the name. So, Anthropic is the AI company that has created the AI agent called Claude, which about a week or so ago, they have now released version 4.
Oh!
One of our first early podcasts we were talking about, they had just released version 3.5.
Yeah,
now they're up to 4.
Oh,
yeah, now they're up to 4. They're advancing fast. And they're making improvements fast. NVIDIA, on the other hand, is a hardware company, and they're becoming the go-to for AI-dedicated GPU chips. Like, big-time dedicated. It looks like they are building a cloud computing server facility in Europe just for AI. A huge one for businesses all over Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't use the term Skynet yet, but we'll see. So, as we've talked about previously, Dario Amodei believes that AI will start replacing jobs very soon. We'll talk about that in a couple of our episodes. He recently stated in Axios that he expects around 50% of all entry-level jobs, just entry-level white-collar jobs, to be replaced in the next 1 to 5 years. So basically, people who work in cubicles at offices and they're doing a lot of the general processing, the entry-level positions at least, he's thinking will be 50% replaced anywhere from 1 year to 5 years. Okay. So really soon, that means a sudden unemployment rate in the United States, at least, of 10 to 20%.
Okay.
And we're at like 3% or something right now. And so he expects that replacement to continue. And again, we're only talking about AI and only one section. So, going back to our job losses episode, you also got to factor in the robots and everything else.
Indeed.
So NVIDIA's Jensen Huang disagrees with him, though. And he disagrees with the cautionary assessment that Dario Amodei is making about these job losses.
I wonder why.
Yeah, everybody's jobs will be changed, he was quoted as saying in Futurism. He continued to say some jobs will be obsolete, but many jobs are going to be created. Whenever companies are more productive, they hire more people, he said. Historically, maybe. But now when you've got companies already replacing their people with AI coding and such, and the layoffs have already started.
I was gonna say,
So
there's been plenty of companies I've encountered that have been doing amazing, and they've been laying off people.
right, yeah, because they don't need those number of people, and they're saving
Right.
money. We have to remember NVIDIA's got a horse in the race.
Of course they do.
They're building chips that they want people to need, which means they need AI to develop, and they don't want to scare people off by saying, oh, it's going to replace jobs. And, they just want them to think the jobs aren't going to be replaced so that everybody buys their chips. And then when it is replaced, like, oh, I guess we were wrong. I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have to admit myself that when there is hype around anything that starts telling us, oh, we're so close, I'm skeptical too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can understand that aspect of it. I've been seeing this since I was just, knee-high to a grasshopper. Since my younger years, I can remember even in grade school, them making all these promises about the year 2000 and that there was going to be smart thinking computers. We weren't calling them AI yet back then. And space stations and moon and Mars colonies and flying planes, clean energy, so much more, and spandex jackets, one for everyone. And then the year 2000 arrived, and it was still science fiction. And I was disappointed, and I'm still kind of salty about it. But now, all of a sudden, I think we're headed there. Anyway, but in all of that, skepticism, hope aside, I'm reminded of a quote by Maya Angelou: hoping for the best, prepared for the worst, and unsurprised by anything in between. I think that's kind of where we need to be. I mean, if we're only preparing for the best case scenario, we won't be prepared at all if the worst case scenario happens. And right now, the debate continues. And it's tough to listen to the debate between these people who are financially invested in it, and they are also, it's their baby.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to speak highly of their AI products because they created them. That's where I think Dario Amodi is interesting, in that his company is still moving forward to create AI and keep advancing it. But he's also saying, but hey, let's all be ready for what this may entail.
Right.
I think he's kind of like us a bit. Myself, I tend to be in his corner. Anthropic is still moving forward with AI development, but with caution. Amodi's trying to get our world leaders to pay attention to the potential bad side of AI, but so far they are largely silent on the topic. He's like, they know. They know what could... Oh, some know. Some just aren't listening. But all of them are being silent, whether that's about not panicking the masses or just sitting back and going, well, let's see what happens. I don't know. He doesn't know. But, you and I have kind of the same goal as this guy. So if anybody knows him, tell him about our Patreon. We've got the Millionaire and Billionaire challenges. We really kind of need a good patron to help us do this full time. So, money grab.
I doubt this man, the CEO of Anthropic, would ever bother with us. But if for some reason
I doubt it too.
Hey,
except,
how's it going? I'm sorry about making fun of your name.
but
but I'm also not fully sorry.
Like us, he's worried that nobody's preparing, and so we're kind of on the same page here.
Right.
So we can help you. Let's help you spread the word.
We can help.
We can help. All right.
That's a bit no one else knows.
Nobody's going to get that, but I think we need to reuse those for something.
Oh God, I would love to.
Anyway, there's still more developing in the way, way fast-paced world of AI, but that's going to have to wait for future episodes. I've got a few topics that will take whole episodes by themselves. So that's all I've got today.
That's it. All right.
That's it. I wanted to leave plenty of room for your segment and have a little bit of this. So
that's perfect.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. Please keep listening. Hope that you are liking our podcast. If you do, please tell others. Please encourage people to listen. Encourage your elected officials to listen, because they do need to know this stuff, because stuff's going to change whether we like it or not. Everyone needs to know. Absolutely. Everyone. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. We'll be working on getting this out on a whole lot of places very soon here.
Yes, you.
Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything will be there. So if you're not a podcaster, everybody can get to YouTube. So check us out there. If you like what we're doing and you want to help us create a little bit more, or maybe a lot more, we invite you to become a patron on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Patreon patrons get exclusive stuff. Of course, there's also our social media, and you can find all of our links on utopianwasteland.com. So, until our next episode, remember, you can ignore technology, but it won't ignore you.